Just how good is this thing? Well, stick around, boys and girls, and you're going to find out. Uppercut, uppercut, sonic boom! Well, hello there, humans, hippies, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and if you're lucky enough indeed to be doing it too. Welcome back to the channel. It's time to talk about probably the most under-the-radar, over-the-top gun in the game, the SCAR-L. I'm going to talk a little bit with you about some testing I did with this, which is going to inform a lot of the conversation. I'm going to talk about why I'm kind of a wanker. And I'm also going to talk about, how the player base is really odd. There's a lot going on with this weapon, though. I'm going to tell you the stats on it, how it compares, and all that kind of stuff. But I just want you to know that I do enjoy making these kind of videos, and they seem to be very popular on the channel. If you like this kind of content, hit me up, let the world know, like the video, subscribe, leave a comment down below if there's anything you want to see in particular, because this is how we grow the channel in the direction that you, the community, want it to grow in. Let's kick off with this. This is, how broken is that? Like that AKM spray for starters, without any iron sight, without a red dot or anything, and then the SCAR-L spray after it. Unbelievable. Quality stuff. So the SCAR-L, why do I say it's probably the most under the radar OP weapon in the game? Well, it's because it really is. No one carries on about the SCAR-L, which is hilarious, because the SCAR-L, in my opinion, is as good as the M416. It really is. It's just completely hilarious to me that this gun doesn't get the same kind of credit. And I'm going to show you a test in a moment that will blow your mind, okay? And it's going to showcase a little bit of why I believe that the SCAR-L is as good as the M416. There is a real weird thing that goes on in PUBG Mobile with the way they put the weapons in the game and the stats they give them. And they started, and I believe that they intended to make the SCAR-L and everything super different. The AUG, the SCAR-L, the M4, the QBZ, and they just never got around to it. There's been other things like mirror modes and runic powers and anniversaries, and anyway, look at this. This is the M4 on the left and the SCAR on the right. Tell me which gun stops first. Tell me which gun has higher recoil. These aren't cherry-picked. I just went and fired 4 rounds of both. The M4 on the left keeps finishing higher than the SCAR-L. This isn't a mistake. It's just there. You can't miss it. Both those guns are running compensators. The M4, in fact, also has I wanted to do this just intentionally to make sure I showcase the M4. The M4 also has a tack stock on it. And yet the SCAR's vertical recoil was lower each time. Now, obviously, that's not enough points of references to be definitive. But I am going to be doing a more in-depth video specifically on the tack stock, because it is featured on quite a few weapons now. The Vector, the Mark 47 Mutant, the M416, the M16A4. Anyway, I could go down a whole other path here. The whole point is that the SCAR-L's recoil is within spitting distance of the M416, okay? If not better. The other thing is that the damage is the same across the board. Exactly the same headshot damage, 94 base. And then you move on to the vest or the chest and it's 40.9. And the rate of fire is around every 0.94 seconds, 0.094 seconds. And your time to kill is the same, 0.376 seconds for both weapons, and the bullet speed, 909 meters a second for both of the weapons. I myself am a big Jezzy, because I used to carry on about the M416, and I still do, like a whining toddler, and yet I'd run this in solidarity with brothers and sisters out there, showing them that I wasn't an M416 wannabe. And, I mean, really? Like, are we serious? Because that certainly seems like the SCAR-L does the same stuff as the M4, and I felt a little bit dirty. I realized when I was putting all these clips together that I am part of the problem. Okay, anyway, back to what we're talking about here, the SCAR-L. It's interesting to me because people just want to do what they see successful people doing. So I watched PMGC yesterday, and I actually had a message from a fan and a subscriber on Discord. Shout out to Nikolai VZ, who said, everyone in PMGC is running M416. And he's right, they were. And yet, most of them were running M416 and very, very few people were running SCAR-Ls. And the player base sees that and they're like, M416 is the best. And it might be a tiny bit better in terms of horizontal recoil, but it's not better in any real functional sense of the word. And by function, I really mean functional. Like, functional is if you're shooting a 3x spray at someone at 200 meters, there is functionally no difference between using a SCAR-L and using an M416. The M416 might be a percentage point better, but it's not going to really show up in any way that's super duper important to a public game player. For a pro, I could see they might do their research, they might have better sensitivity with it. They are completely different animals, but we emulate them, we follow them, we do what they do. I mean, everyone wants to be like, you know, first season Paraboy with an M16A4, but I don't know. I think maybe that plane has flown a little bit. That bird has flown a little bit. Anyway, my point is that people are kind of sheepish, and people resist change, and people don't really understand. And I'm one of them, because you can see I've just trapped myself. I was carrying on about the M416 so much that I really didn't realise just how good this gun is until I tested it again. And I've tested it that many times. I should know better. What does it do well? Well, its mid-range game is phenomenal. It's got that typical 5.56 spray, okay, where because it has superb bullet speed and very easy to control recoil, it is a sensational 50 to 75 meter killer. It can emulate a DMR. You can headshot people at extreme ranges and run a 6x. Sure, it can't run an 8x, but anyone who knows that a 6x is just fine when it comes to hitting shots. It's not a big deal, right? And what doesn't it do well? Well, I don't love the iron sight. I really don't like the iron sight on this gun, okay? In my opinion, it's one of the worst iron sights in game. The original barrel is probably worse than this, and it's not going to win all the engagements, but generally it's going to be a U problem, not a SCAR-L problem. I mean, the fact that this guy running around the back door has an MK14 is probably a bit tough, and then he switches to a DP28. Like,
marked a location.
It's a gun that works exceptionally well with a compensator, an angle grip, and a red dot, especially with the way aim assist is. And I was talking to Ganksy the other day, and he was saying there's a big hoo-ha about aim assist, and I'm on board with that. It is a tough thing to define. There are real positives and negatives with aim assist, and I need to do a whole in-depth video on that. In fact, I might roll that into the tax stock video as well, just some of the more marginalized parts of the gameplay. But the SCAR-L, for all intents and purposes, is an M416. The reload speed is excellent too. One of the reasons you don't see me run the AUG very often is I hate the reload speed on the AUG. The SCAR-L I think is about 1.8. The AUG is about 2.6 seconds. I have no idea why the AUG is higher in terms of reload. It's a crate weapon that has the same damage, like 30 meters a second more bullet speed, the same rate of fire, the same recoil. I have no clue why the AUG A4 is in a crate. It makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to anyone. And it's just a thing I think that they couldn't be asked fixing. Should you be using the SCAR-L? Absolutely. It's gorgeous. It's glorious. It's a fantastic weapon. And hell, I use the SCAR-L because until they change the way the meta works and the way the guns work, not using something that is effective and proficient and a fun gun to run is just cutting off your nose to spite your face. And I know that because I've been running the SCAR-L for so long now, instead of the M416 trying to be a super cool hipster, that I think it's fair to say I have no legs to stand on in terms of you shouldn't be running any kind of weapon in the game. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed a little bit of a different take on what is a conversation that I'm very, very deep into. I know that I have been running these tests and things for years, and I know that every time I do it, like when I first came out and said 5.56 ARs all have the same rate of fire, people just flat out refused to believe me because a lot of YouTubers said that this one was better than the other one based on feel and based on, I don't know, based on the moon and the stars aligning with Jupiter in the second quadrant. Go and effing do the testing before you come at me, you grubs. Until next time, look after yourselves and stay safe on the battlefield. And comment and subscribe. Why don't you? Until next time, bye for now.
Good draw.
That's it.